Then after you have placed your money in those two envelopes, the man will tell you that you have to quickly get into the supermarket, because that man whom they would have said that he is the human resource manager, he will then pretend as if he has received a very important phone call. He will rush back into the supermarket and he will leave you in the hands of a man who will tell you that he is a security working at that same supermarket, and he will get inside the supermarket with you. And once you are inside, that security will show you a spot where you are supposed to wait for that human resource manager. The security will tell you that he is returning back to his post at the entrance of that supermarket, and you will be left holding your envelope, that same one where you would have placed your valuable item or your cash. So you will not even suspect that there is something fishy that will be going on. But after standing there maybe for a couple of minutes, that is when someone will ask you, what are you doing there? And you will tell them that you have been hired by the human resource manager of that supermarket. A manager will come to speak with you. Then they will tell you that in that supermarket there is no man with that name that you would have told them. That is when you will realize that you have been robbed. But simply because you will be holding that envelope, knowing that indeed you are the one that would have placed the money inside that envelope, you won't even suspect that those people would have stolen your money. So what you will do is that with confidence you will get out of the supermarket and you will then open that envelope, and you will realize that inside that envelope there will be nothing but a pack of old newspapers. My brother, this is the way that my brother and those men that he used to rob people with used to operate. They were doing this dirty business. The next thing that happened is that one day when we were just sitting, we then saw a very beautiful car, a big car, driving into the compound, and the man who then got out of the car, it was my elder brother. Everyone was just excited, even though it was not a brand new car, but it was a second-hand car. It still seemed very brand new. And after my brother had told me of all of the things that he had done in the city, he then told me that even the car that he was driving, he had actually scammed someone into selling him that car at a lower price. And after he had bought the car from that man at a lower price, then he scammed that man again of his money, because that man returned back to him thinking that he was a wealthy businessman and they were supposed to get involved in this business dealing. That man then returned that full amount that he had been given by my brother, with the confidence thinking that my brother was going to hand him a business deal on a silver platter. So my brother used to do a lot of those things, like sending a lot of people fake emails promising you a better opportunity and things like that. So when my brother had returned back to the village, my brother then told me that he wanted to return with me back to the city. So my elder brother and his colleagues, they started using me as a bait, because at that time I was really very young. They would use me as a bait. I'll be standing at the hitchhiking spot, and after hitchhiking, I'll then check out if in that car that I'll be traveling in, if there is anyone that has any valuable items, or even the driver, if the driver might be having huge sums of money. And after that, I'll be passing all of that information to my brother. My brother used to sell that information to some guys who were really doing heavy stuff like robberies and weird stuff like that. Then when we had gotten a lot of money, I told my brother that I could not keep up doing all of these things, because this was not in my blood, brother Nashi. I would always chicken out whenever I would see the police. So after getting a lot of money, I then told my brother that I wanted to open up my shop. My brother was in no support of my business, so I started that small shop of mine alone without the help of my brother. But after my brother had seen that my shop was really profitable, that was when my brother said that he wanted to be part of my business, and he then gave me some money and he joined me after he had injected a little bit of capital back into the business. Then we started working like that, and we promised each other that we should keep our relationship as brothers separate from our business interest. But I had miscalculated everything, that my brother, him being a scammer, he was always going to be a scammer. There was one time when my brother had told me that there was this other business deal, and this business deal, it needed a lot of money, and he had some money on the side, but he wanted to take some money from the shop. When I returned back home, I then told my wife, because I was married at that time, and I told my wife that this is what my brother had told me. We were supposed to invest this money in another business deal, but my wife was against that idea. But my brother, he was such a sweet talker that he convinced me to let him borrow money from the business. He borrowed almost each and every single cent that we had in the business. Only a few stuff was left, my brother. And after my brother had taken that money, he then started giving me a lot of runarounds, because he had said that from the money that he had taken from our small business, we could get involved in the business of oil and gas, and we were going to become very filthy rich. But my brother, he then told me that he had the money stolen from him, and from there on, I started suffering from depression, Brother Nashi. And you know what women are like. Almost on a daily basis, me and my wife, we were fighting each and every day. And whenever we would be fighting, my wife will keep on reminding me of how much I had lost from my brother. I then thought of revenging my brother. When I thought of revenge, I visited this other priest. Me and him, we had once done a business dealing, because he had brought some of his electrical equipment to my shop and we had it fixed. That is how I knew this voodoo priest. So I then went to him and I told him of all of my troubles, and he hated my brother anyway. And he told me that there was a way to revenge my brother, and by me revenging my brother, he would make sure that my brother will bring me back my money. I wanted my brother to pay me back each and every single cent that he had taken from our small business. That was all that I needed from that time. So when I went to that priest then told me that all that was needed for my brother to give me back all of that money was that I had to bring 2 chickens. And these chickens that I was supposed to bring, they were those African chickens. I was supposed to bring a black chicken and a white chicken. So when I brought those chickens to that voodoo priest, he said that we were going to slaughter one of the chickens, then the other chicken we were going to let it roam around the forest. He said that the chicken that we would have slaughtered, he had set a trap upon my brother's life. Let's say that the moment that the chicken that we were going to release into the forest, if that chicken will be running around, that will be the same way that my brother will be running mad. And if anyone was going to come and to offer assistance to my brother, then if anyone was going to try and to deliver my brother from his sickness, then the trap will fall upon my brother's life and he will immediately die. Because of anger, I let this voodoo priest to continue with these voodoo rituals that we were doing without the full knowledge of what I was doing at that time. All that I wanted my brother was for my brother to give me all of the money that he had taken from my business, because back home there was no peace at all. The trap that has been set on my brother's life, it is like even if my brother will be taken to a church, then as the deliverance service will be done on him, my brother will die first before he can be delivered. This is the way that voodoo priest set a trap upon my brother's life, because the chicken that I slaughtered, it represented the death of my brother. Then that other chicken that we released into the forest, that is always roaming in the forest, it represents that my brother should forever be running mad. As long as that chicken will be roaming in the forest, then it means that my brother will be running mad. My brother Nashi, this is all the things that I did And when I did them, my heart was filled with anger and resentment. But since I did all of these things, I have noticed that the things that I did, Brother Nashi, they are not good at all. And I am willing to repent, and I do not even know where to start, because I am afraid that the moment that there is someone that is going to come and try to pray over my brother, that trap that I set whilst I was at that shrine with that voodoo priest, it is going to fall on my brother's life, and I do not want my brother to die. It pains me a lot. The last time that I saw my brother, he was running mad, and when I saw him, he didn't even recognize me as his own brother. He kept on eating whatever dirty food that he was eating, and I could not even stop because I was ashamed. I thought that maybe if I was going to stop and to offer him some kind of assistance, then as people will be driving around looking at me parked by the side of the road assisting this madman, then they will say, here he is, this one, he is a ritualist. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to us by our dear brother. We then asked our dear brother if any of his relatives knows, or his wife. He said that all of these things that he did at that time, he thought that after they had slaughtered the first chicken and after they had slaughtered the second chicken into the wild, when he returned back home, that was when they received a phone call from the woman who was staying with his elder brother at that time, telling them that the brother was feeling sick, he was not okay. When he went there, the woman had already packed all the items that were valuable and she had ran away. And when he looked at his brother, he saw that his brother was now mentally ill. And the brother then ran out of the house, stripping himself naked as he kept on running, and no one was able to stop him. Strange things do happen in this world.